Welcome to Built Different. I'm Erin Sykes, business analyst, real estate professional, and someone who's endlessly curious about the systems that shape how we live, grow, and spend. Each week, I dive into the markets, mindsets, and moments that define our lives, from real estate to wealth, psychology, relationships, and everything in between. Because what we build is not just financial, it's human.
My name's Jenna Steffens, and I'm built different by turning my struggles into opportunities.
So Jenna Steffens Mayer is here today, and I'm super excited. She is not only a real estate agent, but, well-loved equestrian, innovative, health-conscious, non-toxic home builder with her husband. Together, they have MayerWorks Construction, and I really wanted to kind of dive into how you built your house, because I've watched the series that you've done on Instagram, and it's been fascinating. And every single thing you have done in that house, I want to replicate in my own. So why did you start this journey, to do a non-toxic home?
So I started it out of need. In 2017, I got very, very sick from black mold. And through that whole thing, trying to figure out what went wrong and why I wasn't feeling well, I eventually figured out that it was mold. And after that, my immune system became so sensitive that I actually couldn't find a place in Florida that I felt good in. So I moved home to Minnesota for 6 months, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we came back, and I just wasn't feeling good in any of the homes here. So I decided we had to buy land and do it ourselves.
Yeah. It's interesting. I find that as you become more and more health conscious, and as you start to cut out things or supplement or, do the saunas or do whatever, you become like a canary in a coal mine, and
yes,
you feel
that's exactly what
everything.
Happened. Yeah. So once I was exposed to mold in such a big way, and it really took me down, after that, I became so sensitive to even small or normal amounts that an AC that wasn't clean could make me sick and things like that. So it was a journey figuring out, what was making me sick and what I could live with, and then also figuring out what is the best move for me to go forward. And for us, it was just trying to do it ourselves.
How did you know it was mold, or how did you I'm sure you went down a rabbit hole to try to figure out why you weren't feeling well.
That's a really good question. So in the beginning, I really didn't know what was going on. So my symptoms were, it's different for everyone, but my symptoms were, I was extremely dizzy. I had panic from the moment that I woke up to the moment I went to bed, racing thoughts. I didn't sleep for, I think it was 10 days.
What?
So every time I started to drift off to sleep, I would be jolted back awake. And so I knew something was extreme, like this wasn't normal. And I had just gone through a really stressful work thing. I had a partnership that went, we went our separate ways. And so I think the stress also made it worse, but the stress triggered what I was already dealing with. And I remember when I moved back home, I was trying to figure out what was going on. So I was doing all these different testing, and I thought it was Lyme. And I went to the doctor. We did all this testing. It did come back that I had chronic Lyme. So then I called a Lyme clinic in Florida. It was in Tampa, but they also did mold. And I'll never forget what she said to me. I was on the phone with her, and she was like, okay, tell me what your symptoms are. So I was going through my long list of symptoms. And she goes, honey, that's not Lyme, that's mold.
Wow.
And I just sat there and mold. Like, I didn't even know what mold was, right? Like, this was
what
such
type
a
of
new
space
term.
were you in? Were you living in an apartment, in a house?
I was living in a condo, and it had been completely taken down to the studs and redone, and it was beautiful. But I remember walking in and smelling that musty smell. But at the time, I didn't know what mold was. So I just figured, oh, no one's been here for a few months. It just needs to be aired out, things like that. now I know what that musty smell is. But after that conversation with that lady in the clinic in Tampa, I realized I had no idea what I was doing. And I got my air tested, got it dust tested. There was large amounts of black mold. Then I did a urine test, and I had large amounts of mold. And from there, just started the journey on trying to get better. But it was really difficult for me because I was so sick that I couldn't even take like herbals, or I had a doctor that wanted me to go after the Lyme. I knew that I couldn't do that. I was basically down to 3 foods. I couldn't eat anything because the mold attacked my immune system so strongly and took it down that I became allergic to almost everything. Chemicals, scents, foods, you name it. I felt like I was plastic girl. Even in my worst times, I could barely hold my phone because I could feel the radiation. So it was hell. And since then, the only thing that I could do to get better was I started doing energy work. I did medical qigong with somebody who actually worked on me. And then as I got stronger, then I came back to Florida and I found somebody out of Boca that really saved my life. I mean, I had jaundice everywhere. My skin was yellow. I mean, it was a really, really bad spot. So it took many years to get better. But from having to have gone through that and lose everything I own, because after the mold, you can't keep any of your clothes, any of your books, anything that is porous, I had to get rid of. So it was basically like my whole life went through a fire. I walked out and I got rid of everything, started over. And so at that point, I realized how important it was to have a sanctuary.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have one anymore. I didn't feel safe anywhere.
Exactly.
So that's what started this whole journey.
How wild. Now, I mean, explain to us the types of testing that you did, or where you got the testing, or the brand testing, because I think it's important for everybody to kind of get a baseline of their space. I know in our careers with real estate, sometimes you walk into spaces and now you have that sixth sense.
Yeah.
And there are some times where I do showings, I know I was in a moldy space.
Yeah.
And my scalp tingles, my tongue tingles, my nose, and I cannot wait to get home, shower, scrub, get it off of me.
Yeah. I have clients that would actually just send me to a house before they would look at it because they knew that I would know if it had mold or not. They're like, I won't even bother unless you tell me it's okay. But in terms of testing, that's a really good question, because I think there's a lot of tests that don't work. So if you call any random air testing mold person, they're going to come out and say that you need to do an air sample. Well, the air, from what I know, the air does not pick up the heavy, dangerous molds like Chaetomium or Stachybotrys, which is what I had. So when I did my air test, everything was fine. Didn't pick it up because it's heavier, it's in the dust. So we actually ended up doing a dust test, and that came back high. So there's it's really important to know which test you're doing for your house.
Yeah, I know sometimes, obviously the inspection process that we go through with most sales, everybody's always doing an air quality test, which, it's a nice to have. It's not a end all be all, but I have noticed that with the air quality test, you can, say it picks up mold, and then a company comes and quickly remediates. And I mean like a 1-day type of thing. And then if you retest it right away, you can get a clear test.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the space is actually mold free.
No.
It's like a temporary dusting away of what will resonate within the test. It's a joke, really.
Yeah. I agree.
You have to go behind the walls. I almost don't feel like there's any way to truly get rid of mold from a space short of knocking down the house.
That's why I built.
You're like, that's exactly what I found out.
Yeah, because I probably dust tested over 15 homes when I was just trying to find a place to rent so that I could live here.
Yeah.
And most of them, whether it was 5 years old or I didn't really look at anything mid-century or anything, because anytime I walked into a mid-century house, it was like complete no. Like it can't. I did find some that were in the okay range.
Right.
But the majority of them were unsafe.
Yeah, and I know what you mean about those mid-century homes, and
can't do it.
People come down to Florida, and especially they want to go and be in these very quaint, Meisner-esque spaces that we have in Greater Palm Beach, which they absolutely are beautiful. First of all, I think they're actually a challenge to live in beyond the fact that a lot of them have mold because the closets are small, the maintenance is high,
insurance,
rodents, insurance, like termites, like there's a whole long laundry list of why those houses can be a challenge. But, sometimes people's aesthetics always like they come to the surface. It's really important to them. We advise as much as we can. We can't say you are not allowed to buy X, Y, and Z. But FYI, people, those are challenging homes to live and exist in.
Oh, for sure. But I actually lived in a couple 1920s in West Palm when I first moved down. Mm-hmm. And I realized every time that I moved into these houses, because I moved a lot, I was young, I would start not feeling well. And at the time, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about air, mold, anything like that. I come from, up north. There's there's not a lot of mold up there. I mean, it does exist, but it's rare.
Yeah.
So that was like a totally new world to me, something that I didn't think about. But after going through what I've gone through and seeing other people becoming sick and not knowing why, it's been interesting to even I had a lady in our own building where I got sick because it was 4 units in one building. Mm-hmm. As soon as she moved in, she started going blind and she got diagnosed with like early onset, I think it was diabetes or something. And I talked to her a couple years after and told her about what happened to me. And she goes, yeah, I think I got sick as soon as I moved in there as well. So that was a completely sick building. And I've had other clients call me and saying, after watching some things that you put out there with your story, I realized that I'm also getting sick in my home. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's enough knowledge out there about how our homes can be making us sick.
Yeah, especially in Florida, like you said, it's a hot, moist environment.
Oh, yeah.
12 months of the year. It's like the most opportunistic place for mold to grow.
Yeah, I should not even live here, to be honest. I should be in a desert. I don't know why. My mom always says it. She's like, why are you still living there? I'm like, I can't start over.
I know. You're like, I kind of made my bed. I'm here now.
Yeah, right.
Now, beyond mold, what other things in the house that you're building and other homes that you will build with your husband, do you recommend people doing? I mean, I know in terms of air quality, you've got radon, and radon, in my experience, ties very closely to mold because radon in New Jersey and up north, we always had, granite slabs that a lot of the homes are built on. And in that case, you can always just aerate the basement. You bring a pipe up through, the second floor, the roof, and you can clear out that radon. It's pretty easy. In Florida, it's a lot harder to mitigate radon because it's not granite that we're built on. A lot of times it's these toxic materials that, the drywall or the different countertops, and they off-gas, causing radon to then build up in newer construction homes. Yes. Now, the way that they ask to remedy that, or the way that contractors go about it, is they pump outdoor air in to increase the air quality inside the home. But that air here in Florida is moist.
Yeah.
And so then you can create a mold problem by trying to get rid of a radon problem.
100%. And it's interesting too because I actually can tell that my health gets worse in the summertime when we have more rain.
Interesting.
Because I live in Jupiter Farms and I absolutely love it. It's the best. But we are basically building on wetlands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does get really moist out there. We have a lot of trees. So I could tell this summer things starting to pick up a little bit. And that's with the outdoor air, because my air on the inside is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you do it? Like, tell me your whole process, A to Z.
Well, first, what I did when I was learning is I hired a guy out of Texas to look at our plans, tell us what we could do better, and give us basically a list of things to use when we were building. So he actually advised us on what we were doing with our slab, the drainage that was underneath it, the drain plane on the outside of our house, the stucco mixture, the underlayment of our roof, the things on the top of our roof, the sealant, the walls we put in our house, things
So
like
is
that.
he an engineer, or what is his role?
He is a building biologist.
Huh.
He's out of Austin, Texas, but he works around the world.
What's his name?
George Swanson.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can send you the stuff for him too.
Yeah, we can tag him in the show notes too,
Yeah.
because I think that that's a great resource for people. Like, that's your square one before you
Exactly.
hire a contractor, before you hire an architect, or after you hire an architect.
I would say it's
Wow, they
Yeah.
work together.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of building a team. And I think the hardest thing is finding a contractor that is okay with not doing the norm. That's the hardest, because being a GC is a really hard job, and to do something different is even harder, right? Something that they might not understand.
They don't know how to bid.
They don't know how to do
cost.
it. Exactly. They don't want to take the risk. They've never installed it before and things like that. So I'm lucky that I had my husband that's gone through this journey with me and understood that this was a need. He didn't get sick like I did, but he watched me go through it. And so he understood how it was crucial to get these things right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So he basically started his general contracting company in order to facilitate these types of projects. Is that right?
Well, he already had his license and was doing regular builds and kitchens and bathrooms and things like that. But we really learned together while we were building our house on how to do it a different way.
Now, I know like some of the things you did, or at least the ones that I remember from Instagram, it's like instead of using drywall, you use a different type of board. What is that?
So it is a magnesium oxide board.
Uh-huh.
So it is about 60 pounds per board. It's very heavy.
Wow.
It is not easy to install. I think we almost gave up a couple times doing it. But the great thing about it is that it can get completely drenched in water and it will dry out. So what most people don't know is that if drywall gets wet, it has to be actually ripped out within 24 hours of getting wet, or it will grow mold.
Even if
Like
it doesn't
100%.
come up on a wetness test anymore, like there's still microscopic
Yeah.
mold or wetness or moisture
It's
that's
moisture.
held for a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, drywall, it's a cheap board, and it's just not made to get wet, especially in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't take care of it within 24 to 48 hours, you could have mold problem growing. That's how quick it happens. Now, with this board, it can get completely dunked in water and completely dry out. We actually tested this. We had an extra board and we just threw it outside and it was completely fine. I mean, it was getting rained on like for months and months and months, never molded.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And now what about if you want to paint the magnesium board, or if you want to wallpaper it, can you do that?
Oh, yeah. It looks just like a normal wall. You can paint it. You can put lime wash on it, wallpaper. You can hang stuff on it. It is a very dense board, a lot thicker, but it is the same as a regular board.
If you're hanging like photos and stuff, do you need a professional or can you still just hammer into it? You can
still do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, and I think it's also better for soundproofing too
Yeah,
than
that
the
makes
regular
sense.
board because it is denser. It's fireproof. And I don't think termites can get to it either.
Interesting.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it's not a wood-based item, so I don't think that termites would really
mineral.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually built our guest house first because I wanted to first test everything that we were doing, and I wanted to spend the extra money on the things that I wanted in this house to make it safe. So this board, I mean, it's not something that everyone can do because it's probably about three to four times the amount of regular. Plus the getting it on the walls, if you can, it's first off hard to find somebody to do it because nobody's done it. We had to like go through, I think, 10 people before we found somebody that was like, okay,
Do you
I'll
remember
try
what
it.
contractor did it?
I don't, but I'd have to find who the sub was from Trent. And then we did have some cracking the first time, but we figured out a way after redoing our walls like 3 times. I think he wanted to kill me when we were going through this. He's like, you wanted these walls and I can't get them right. But we did figure it out.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And now, is your house, is it one story? Is it?
It's a
contemporary,
one-story,
right?
Yeah, it's very modern. It's actually a steel structure. It's a modular system.
Okay.
So we got it here in Florida. They made it at their factory, and then they came up to Palm Beach and they installed it within like 3 or 4 days.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So did you need an architect or you bought the structure directly from the modular builder?
Yeah, so they're modular, and then they actually do the plans for it as well.
Got
so
it.
then they give you the plans, and then you just put it into county or city, wherever you are.
Now, in terms of price, how does that compare to, doing the standard architect and wood framing or we don't wood frame in
Block.
Florida, but
Yeah.
block frame? Or is it going to be comparable? Is it going to be less? Can you save a little bit there and then spend on like the mineral boards?
Yeah, so that's kind of what we did. It was ending up being a little bit less. I would just say that if you are going to go that route, make sure that you have a contractor on site that knows what they're doing to make sure that it's being installed right. Because even if they send their guys to do it, we found that they're not always checking their work. So you want to make sure everything is installed right, everything level, things like that.
Now, what about windows? Anything special that you did with windows?
Not with the windows in particular, but we had to put some wood bucks around the window, and any kind of wood that I had in the house, we sprayed a mineral spray. And that's actually, before we closed and put the walls up, we sprayed the mineral spray on the metal frame because metal can still get mold. People think that it can't. And if you don't think that it can, go and look in your AC right now and look at your coils.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So where there is condensation from getting hot and cold, you can get mold. So we sprayed the mineral spray on all the framing, all the electrical, everything around the house. We basically encapsulated it before we put the walls up.
That makes sense. And then I know, going back to HVAC, one of my pet peeves is when I go into a partly, finished home. So a lot of times we're pre-selling or doing new construction sales, but maybe you're walking through and it's 60, 70, 80% ready to go. And the contractors have the HVAC running, like the HVAC using the ductwork and everything that's going to be final within the house, not some type of temporary mobile system, but like the actual home's HVAC. And they're still doing all types of labor inside the house, be it, using different types of toxic coatings and the finishes. And it drives me crazy because all of that dust, all of that toxic load is then going into your ductwork and just going to
the lungs
sit
of your
and hang out.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's wild And I know obviously here in Florida, it's tough to be a contractor. You're working through 80, 90, 100-degree summers.
Yeah.
And the way to get things done is to provide a good working experience for that team. And of course, you want them to be comfortable. But I think it's super important to do the temporary mobile HVAC.
Yeah, you have to.
Rather than running your house's system.
Yeah, and that's what we did while we were still building, because there's so much dust that happens when you're doing everything. So we actually made sure that all of our vents were completely taped off and covered.
Amazing.
And speaking about the lungs of the house, I think that's something that every homeowner needs to do like yesterday, is find a mold literate AC contractor that actually understands mold. That's the hard part, because they all say that they do, but then they also say, oh, just put bleach on it, which that is like the worst thing that you could ever do. So if you can get a contractor to look at your coils, look at your ducts, and make sure it's clean, that I think is the first step that everyone can do and should do.
Do you think those blue lights
notorious.
are worthwhile? Are they just
No,
nonsense?
I think most of the things on the market are complete junk. What I found that has worked, and it was through a mold consultant, I'll call him. I met him through the health space. He's also very sensitive to mold, and he lives here in Jupiter. And he actually found these enzymes that you spray on your coil, and then it goes through your whole system, and it actually eats mold spores. So he's local, if anybody needs him.
Yeah, I'd love to use him.
Yeah, and he has teamed up with Anderson Cool Air now. And they have helped me create an amazing air system. And I actually just had them out today for my 4-month checkup. And they're like, not a spore. Perfect. Which is like music to my ears.
Yeah,
it's like
that's
the
awesome.
best news ever. So especially if you're building new, if you can do the things before you turn on your system to make sure that you never get mold, and make the environment so that the mold can't grow, then you're going to be so much better off than trying to remediate and clean, because that's a lot harder. So what we did was we encapsulated with a non-toxic paint in our ducts so that mold spores can't grow. And then we also did that in the handler as well. And then we put a system in there. I'm blanking on what the name of it is, but Anderson Cool Air sells them, and that keeps the coil clean. And then every 4 months they come and spray the enzymes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when you're painting the inside of the duct, does that have to be done before the duct is made, or does aftermarket okay?
Yeah, so they'll do the duct spraying once it's actually installed. Then they'll come out and they'll spray it after it's been installed in the house.
Okay.
And they can do it after. Like if it's somebody that lives in an older home, they're now realizing their system is riddled with mold. I have a bunch of people that they can come and clean it safely, and then also do the painting afterwards.
Very cool.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing when I was living in places that I was renting. So it's not like I can't go and paint their stuff. So I was just making sure it was as clean as I could get it.
And then I know you used Ornari for your kitchen.
I did,
which is stunning. Ornari makes amazing closets, kitchen, different types of kind of storage. They're real big in the Hamptons. I think it's Brazilian.
Brazilian, yes.
And they just opened in West Palm.
Yes.
So now
Claudio's the best. Shout out.
Yes, we love it. We also love Fabiola. Do they have clean products, or I know that they source their woods directly from Brazil and it's a super high quality wood. Was that a component, or was that aesthetics, or why did you use Ornari?
For me, it was I love the style. And I've always dreamed about having a kitchen from them. And when they showed me like a mock-up of what my kitchen could look like, I was like, oh, I gotta have that.
Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just step into their showroom and it's next level. Like with closets, I love that
their closets are incredible.
Oh, it's like, first of all, I think that people, when they're building homes or when developers are doing specs, they don't pay enough closet attention.
Yeah.
And I think, closets are very personal. So sometimes when it's a spec home, you don't want to do the closet. Like give an allowance, tell them they can DIY, hook them up with Claudio.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
they can talk to Nari. But it's unbelievable how much value a good closet can add to a home.
100%.
It's like the ones with the little holes, like the California closet with the little holes, they look so cheap. It's terrible.
Yeah. No, they do a very good job. And they have that tinted glass. I did one in my kitchen, but that's kind of their standout piece for their closets too.
Yeah.
The mirrored glass.
I have it. I did a closet, or their closet I have in my house in Florida. And I have the mirrored glass just on my linen, closet doors.
Yeah.
And I wish I had, frankly, more doors I could put it on. But like that was the only one I had. So
it's the best.
Yeah. Now, what other brands? Who else did you use in the house? What do you recommend?
So for the house, I did a lot of natural stones.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the mold piece, because wood, although it's so beautiful, I get it. And it's like soft on the feet, looks amazing. I think for Florida, it's a risky choice.
Yeah.
Unless you are going to paint the back of each board. And even so, that would still make me nervous. So I did large format stone throughout my house. And we did all stone in the bathrooms too. So
is the large format because there's less grout lines or because of aesthetics?
I think it was more of a style thing, but also, I wanted really thin grout lines as well. Yeah.
Grout, like dirty grout, drives me crazy. So
same. It's a pet peeve for me.
Absolutely. So like the less grout lines, the better, because it's just easier to keep the space looking clean.
Yeah. No, it's funny because every listing that I get, if I see dirty grout, I'm like, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It gets pushed to the wayside. And I know that not everybody has like that eye where they can see these things.
Yeah.
People can be completely blind to them. But when you can see these minor details, it's enough to drive you crazy.
And also, too, I think people notice it on a subconscious level. They might not realize, they could think this house feels dirty, even though it's totally picked up and wiped down.
Yeah.
But then when they feel going into a house that has clean grout, I feel like I've noticed that people are like, wow, it's so clean in here. And I'm like, it's the grout.
Secret. It's like an inside clue. Now, in order to get yourself healthy, like going back to your personal body, what are some of the supplements or treatments or things that you did to get out of that rut?
So this is going to be a little bit mind-blowing to a lot of people because my journey's been hard and I've learned a lot along the way. And it's gone through different phases. So when I was really, really sick, I did a lot of saunas because that was just help getting the mold out. But I had to be really slow with how I did it. Like I could only do it twice a week because
your body would be too, excited.
Yeah, it's like because a lot of people that get sick with mold have the MTHFR gene, which means you can't get rid of it quickly. So I would have to do it in like really small and titrated doses. So I started with that, and then shout out to Dr. Ann Silva in Boca. She saved my life, and I don't say that lightly. She's an angel. I started doing her energy work. It's called NAET.
Okay.
You can basically treat anything. It's really hard to explain, but it's you basically hold a vial of an energy. It could be a food, a vitamin, a mineral. It could be mold. It could be anything. And then she does energy / Reiki / like meridian work. with that vial. And I did that for probably 5 years. And that got me up to a point where I could function. I could get back to work. I could live a more normal life. But now the beautiful thing, I have a friend that's also on her healing journey, and she lives in Canada. And she turned me on to the allowing method, which has absolutely changed my life. I'm not even going to attempt to explain it here.
I've never heard of this.
It's a type of meditation, but it is a lifestyle and a mindset. And it's completely given me my power back. I don't rely on any sort of energy healer or anything like that, which they do have their place, you know, especially when you're really sick and you don't have the energy to draw upon yourself.
Right.
So I'm not trying to take away from that, but now with the allowing method, I know that I will fully 100% heal.
Yeah. I think it instills confidence. It's like sometimes when you go through whatever challenge, you know, be it emotional or physical, spiritual, romantic, like all of these challenges, I think there's an ebb and flow. Like you always kind of start needing a third party.
Yeah.
And then you evolve to be able to, you know, ideally evolve, I should say, to managing it yourself.
Yeah. Which, if anyone wants to look into it, her name is called Sam Miller, and her channel is called The Great Allowing. And just start devouring her videos, and that has what's absolutely changed the game for me. Just with everything, it doesn't, not even with illness, just with mindset and how I look at emotions and everything. It's been the most transformative thing I think I've ever done.
No kidding.
Yeah. And that's like, you know, even like religion, stuff like that, I would say like this is the most powerful thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to tie in your spirituality and your, you know, all of these growth kind of methodologies. I think people tend to put them in this bucket. Like it's a spiritual or a personal journey and it doesn't affect the rest of my life, but it absolutely does affect. It affects work. It affects relationships. And I think that when you're able to tie them all together, everything starts to accelerate, you know, and really skyrocket and take off, and your life starts to fall into place.
Yeah, definitely. I've found the same thing. I think even though I've gone through some really hard stuff on the health front, it's going to the other side. I'm now starting to become grateful for it. At first, you go through the grieving stage where you're like, I've lost so much time. I feel like I have to grieve because I don't want to be this sensitive. I don't want to go through this, whatever the case is. But then once you can get through that grieving, you can become grateful because then you realize how it has shaped you into the person that you are today, and you are able to help people, which is what life's all about, really.
Absolutely. I mean, what a perfect place to wrap, because that is why you're building this house. This is why you are the guinea pig, for better or worse.
Yeah.
You know, you had this.
Hasn't been easy.
It has not been easy. It's been a crazy journey, but you're going to be able to share this building methodology with so many people in this area. And I know it's going to go and branch much further out too.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think I would love to help more people be able to get freedom from their health problems, because I think mold is a huge problem. Not only in Florida, but around the world. I think our building needs to change. And I think the more awareness that's out there, the more people will be able to take control of what's happening in their life, or at least just know that they're not going crazy, that mold can affect people in a multitude of ways.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for doing that work and for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been super fun.
Good. I'm so glad. Thanks for listening to Built Different with Erin Sykes. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please be sure to rate, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts. For more insights and updates, follow along on Instagram and share this episode with someone who's building their own version of success. Until next time, keep building a life of value because we're all built a little different. I record Built Different at PodPlus Studios in Jupiter, Florida. To reach my real estate team, visit sykesproperties.com, and to reach me directly, email Erin@sykesproperties.com.